About a year ago for the 2020 model year, Mercedes replaced its mid-size X5 fighter, the GLE, with an all-new model. I loved the technology in that car, and I really loved the mild hybrid system with the inline-six engine. Now the AMG department has gotten their hands on it to create this, the 2021 Mercedes-AMG GLE 63. This is the fastest model in the range. It still has that amazing technology inside, but under the hood, since a bi-turbo V8 with 603 horsepower. Let's see what this luxury SUV is all about. Let's start on the exterior, where this shade of white doesn't do too much to make the GLE 63 stand out, but the AMG bits do help you realize that this is more than just a standard midsize SUV. The GLE is not the most exciting vehicle in the Mercedes-Benz lineup just to look at, but the AMG model takes things a bit further with this big Panamericana grille that's now present on pretty much every AMG model. I think it looks great here on the GLE. Goes well with these nice LED headlights that we've got. You can't get 23-inch wheels, but we do have the optional 22-inch wheels with the faux center lock. It's not a real center locking wheel, but they do look awesome, especially with this white paint. We've got our red AMG 6-piston front brake caliper behind that wheel. Right here, we let everybody know that we have a bi-turbo V8 with 4MATIC all-wheel drive under the hood. Of course, everybody's got to know how big your engine is. Coming around the side, we have this very interestingly styled rear quarter mirror here. Now, this has been a GLE element ever since this vehicle was still called the ML. So that's how long that window has sort of been a thing on Mercedes midsize models. And around back, we have a bunch of cues letting us know that we have an AMG model here. Of course, it says AMG GLE 63S. You can't get the regular GLE 63 here in the US. That S model is the only one you're going to be able to get. And of course, we have our quad exhaust tips, although they are kind of faux exhaust tips. You look in there and you realize those aren't the actual tips. But again, these things sound good enough that I'm willing to forgive Mercedes. So now that we've checked out how the GLE 63 looks on the outside, let's go ahead and check out this simply gorgeous interior, where obviously it's based on a regular GLE, but we do have some special AMG touches to let us know that we are in the highest performing variant of this car. For example, we have carbon fiber trim all over the dash. Looks really nice, high quality stuff. Of course, you can get other materials too if carbon fiber is not your thing. The AMG steering wheel is excellent. Now, we have the one that's wrapped in Alcantara. I would prefer it to be wrapped in leather. That is optionally available just because Alcantara doesn't wear that well, but the steering wheel itself is great. It has such a good feel to it. You really feel like you're holding a race car steering wheel, and there's tons of functionality on it, just like on a Formula One car. Mercedes is dominating in Formula One right now, as I should note. So you can control all of the gauge clusters using this. We have a little sort of BlackBerry style pad here, and what I can do is I can go up, down, left, and right on that to control the middle. These gauges are so configurable. You can configure everything that's in the middle. You can configure the left and right gauge clusters. So instead of a tachometer there, I can have it show my suspension. I can have it show like a mini map, which is actually really cool looking. Look at that. I have a little mini map now in my tachometer. That's really cool. And I can change the way these gauges look entirely. I've got designs and display here. I can go to Super Sport, which is an AMG only thing. You can't get this on any regular Mercedes. And now you see I have this completely different looking display. And if I come over here, now you can see, look how cool that tachometer looks in this mode. It's just a very cool, very customizable display. In terms of digital dashboards, nobody does it better than Mercedes right now. And the steering wheel itself, let's go back to that. We have new for the 2021 models, the GLE and the GLS, we have these awesome controls down here. So this one here can configure like things independent of the drive mode. So right now I have it on exhaust. So if I click that, I can have my loud exhaust. I have traction control here. I can turn traction control off at the push of a button. But what if I don't want to adjust those things? If I click the screen, now look, I can put it from drive to manual mode. I click it again. I can have my stop start. I can have my suspension settings, my AMG dynamic settings that adjusts a lot of things in the car. I can have just the suspension comfort and then back to that. And you can have any two of those that you want. And if you're not into all of that crazy customizability, you can just adjust the drive modes here. So I'm in comfort mode, turn it to the right, that's gonna get you sport mode. So that's gonna tighten up the drivetrain just a little bit, tighten up the suspension, you know, but it still keeps it relatively soft. Sport Plus mode is gonna make it very aggressive. You can hear the exhaust just opened up. You're gonna have much more sharper throttle, suspension, all of that. And then we have race mode. You get the checkered flag on here. That's the most aggressive setting. That's what we're going to be trying when we get this car out on the road later on. And if none of those modes quite do it for you, you can push this screen and that will take you to an individual mode where you can set up all of those different settings on your own. Now let's talk about this vehicle as a luxury car, and in that area it excels. We've got this Burmester audio system, extra but amazing. We've got heated and ventilated massaging seats. The massaging seats are a little extra. They work great, although I will note that this particular car that Mercedes sent me has made some really weird whirring noise. When I turn on the massaging seats, it goes kind of distracting. I'm going to tell Mercedes about it, but I've not had any other Mercedes car do that. This is the only one. And the infotainment is frankly excellent. You can touch it. So I can come up here, I can touch all the controls. So if you like using touch inputs, that's the best way to do it. I don't know if you notice when I put my hand up close to it, you see how it kind of lights up with the controls. It knows that my hand is in close proximity, so it kind of prepares the screen for that. If you don't like getting your screen dirty, you can control it without even taking your hands off the wheel. I have another one of these BlackBerry style controllers, and I can use that to control the infotainment. And if that is just a bit too finicky, because obviously the passenger can't reach over and touch that, we have the controller here to control the MBUX system. So you just kind of swipe across this. We also have all of our different home run settings here. These will take you to our different modes for map, radio, telephone, favorites. I can have the car settings. I can trigger my parking sensors. This car will park itself. If I come up here and touch these buttons here, see I have my full 360-degree camera. And if I don't want to play around with these steering wheel controls, or the passenger wants to make adjustments, I can do all of that here. I have my exhaust, suspension, ride height, manual mode, traction control, all of those settings here physically as well. So there's a lot of baked in redundancy in this car to whether or not how you want to control it. I can even program gesture controls. If I go like this, I have it programmed to activate my massage seats so I don't have to go digging through menus. It's very complicated when you first hop into this car, but once you have it all set up correctly, it works flawlessly. So coming back here to the back seat, I have 40.9 inches of legroom, which is fantastic. That's more than you'll get in a BMW X5. Although I should note that this back seat is less luxurious than the GLS 63 I tested just a few weeks ago. We have heated seats here on the door, but no ventilated seats back here. I do have this nice sunshade that goes up automatically if I want to avoid the sun. I also have two USB-C chargers that I can plug in, and of course I have rear air vents here in the center console and here on the B-pillar as well. Now, I will say that this seat doesn't have massage. It's not electronically adjustable. I'm not sure if that's available as part of a package, because as of right now, the configurator for the GLE 63 is not available on Mercedes' website. Now back here, you're gonna get 33.9 cubic feet of storage, which is very nice for the mid-size luxury segment. Now, unlike the larger GLS that I tested just a few weeks ago, the seats back here are manually adjustable, so you have to manually fold them down here from the second row. Now, that's a little bit less fancy, but again, look how quick that was. I didn't have to hold the button and wait for a bunch of electric motors to bring the seat down. I think this is just a little bit better if you're actually going to use this like an SUV. All right, so now that we've checked out all of the good stuff in the GLE 63, it's time to finally get it out on the road, where you want to figure out if this is a good luxury car and a good performance car, because it does need to do both well. So straight away, I can say that this car is a little firmer than a standard GLE. You're going to expect that from any AMG branded product. It's a little bit more firm than the GLS 63 that I drove just a few weeks ago, video already up on the CarBuzz YouTube channel, but it's not uncomfortable at all. I have it in comfort mode right now. It's smooth, it's quiet, it's comfortable. Those big wheels definitely contribute a little bit to the road noise, but the cabin is so well insulated in here that I think it can get away with it pretty well in terms of comfort. And I do believe that this is more comfortable than the X5 and X6M, which I have driven. So this is a little bit more on the soft side compared to those. So if you are cross-shopping those two, I do prefer this one. And like all the other AMG models right now, the GLE 63 is powered by a 4-liter bi-turbo V8, and this one has the Mercedes EQ boost starter generator. So the engine itself produces 603 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque. Again, those numbers are frankly excellent. And the EQ generator is able to contribute on its own an extra 21 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque for small bursts. And all of that power is sent out to a 4MATIC all-wheel drive system through a 9-speed automatic. Now, the Mercedes 9-speed automatic has never been my favorite. It's a very good gearbox. It shifts mostly smoothly. I would say that BMW's ZF 8-speed automatic that they use is just a little bit better, but it's not a huge difference either way. And adding to the comfort of this car is a air suspension with adaptive dampening and active roll stabilization that is partially powered by that EQ boost generator that I talked about. So the EQ boost generator is great. It fills in the gaps for the torque, meaning there's pretty much no turbo lag, no throttle delay in this car. It also contributes when you come to a stop. A lot of cars like this, the start-stop can be very rough, but with this, it smoothly gets you going off the line and restarts the engine smoothly. It also powers that roll stabilization, so when you pitch the GLE 63 into a corner, it just remains flat and level, and that's gonna come helpful even when you're in comfort mode too. So you go over a bump and it's just gonna kind of level the car out. It can even, if you have like a ton of stuff in the back and it's gonna cause the car to sag a little bit, the suspension will actually level itself out. So that's pretty cool as well. All of this technology just, makes the GLE 63 such a competent daily driver. But the reason why you're going to get a car like this is for the performance. So why don't we check out what that's like? So I've been in comfort mode this whole time. You could put it in sport mode. That's going to basically sharpen up the throttle a little bit, make this car a little bit more responsive. Sport Plus is going to do that, but take it a step further. And that's as far as you can get in the GLS 63 is Sport Plus mode. And that's going to make everything really sharp. But the GLE 63 gets access to race mode. Now that's going to put the suspension in firm mode. It's going to tighten up the steering, the throttle. It's going to give us the loudest exhaust note possible from this bi-turbo V8. So let's see what that feels like off the line. Let's go, launch control. Oh my God. That sounds incredible. So one of the things I was disappointed with the last time I drove the GLS 63 was that the launch didn't feel quite jarring enough and the sound out of the exhaust wasn't loud enough. In the GLE, neither of these are an issue. It does have launch control. That got off the line like that in a hurry. Mercedes says this like over 5,000 pound beast will get from 0 to 60 in 3.7. That felt quicker to me. That definitely felt quicker than 3.7 seconds. I think this could probably do it in 3.5 or less. And the exhaust note, I'm gonna go ahead and downshift a little bit so you can just hear that again. Let's go down a couple gears. I know there's probably some of that being pumped through the cabin to fake it, but Oh, I don't care. That sounds amazing. It's definitely loud enough in here. So the GLE improves upon some of the issues that I had with the GLS. It does everything really well. And I will say that this does sound louder to me than the BMW X5M and X6M. Those two cars were just a little bit too quiet for me. And also, when I went to go drive those cars, I could not get their launch control to work. I had BMW engineers on hand with me in the car, and we could not get the car to do a launch control. So, you know, there you go. Mercedes, foot on the brake, foot on the gas, let go, go, boom, easy. You whip this car around a corner, it stays flat, powers out. Let's see, let's get a downshift. There we go. Oh, it's just so fast. It never stops pulling, even at the high RPMs. You can just reach outrageous speeds. I will say Mercedes says that they adjust the steering in race mode to make it extra precise, and oh my God, you feel it right away. When you put this car in race mode, the most delicate of steering inputs cause this car to dart left or dart right. It may be bigger than an Alfa Romeo Stelvio, but in race mode, I think the steering is almost as good. This thing is fantastic. I can't believe how well this thing drives. The suspension keeps it level. It almost handles like a sedan, and that kills me to say it as somebody who definitely prefers sedans to SUVs. When I need to come to a stop, I've got 6-piston front calipers. You can get carbon ceramics if you're really feeling crazy, although I don't think those are necessary. I'm impressed. I thought that the GLS 63 was just unnecessary. It felt quick, but a little slow and a little comfortable and a little safe. I think the GLE is the perfect level because the GLC 63 is just very stiff, not so comfortable. I think the GLE is a great balance of daily driver and crazy performance car. Pricing for the 2021 Mercedes GLE 63 starts at just under 114 grand, and while I don't have access to the configurator, the one that I have here rings in at just under $134,000. That puts this right on par with vehicles like the BMW X5M, and on the Audi side you have the RS Q8, although that competes a little bit more with the GLE Coupe, which is also available. I think that looks ugly and it's more expensive than this, so if you are going to get one of these, I recommend getting the standard SUV one. Now, I haven't driven the RS Q8 yet, but I have driven the X5M. I feel like the X5M is a pretty nice car, but this has a nicer interior, and I feel it's just more wild and a bit sharper than the BMW, which is a surprise from the AMG department, which can often feel a little soft and a little numb. I think this is the best driving car and the best sounding car in the mid-size performance SUV segment, and I wouldn't hesitate to recommend it. We really hope you've enjoyed this video. For more information on the 2021 Mercedes GLE 63, check out CarBuzz.com. The link is in the description below. And be sure to leave us a like and hit the notification bell to be alerted of our latest videos. That's how you can really help us out as a channel on future videos. Hope you've enjoyed this one. I'll see you next time.